Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle video tutorials on Affinity Photo and creating patterns from shape designs within shapes. Now, what I can do, I'm just going to quickly remove this design. You can see this design has got a circle, very basic circle, but with a bevel applied, and it's a pattern design. You can quickly create this. So I'm just going to start completely from fresh, and I'm going to select an ellipse. And I'm going to go through a few different things. So you've got this design here. Now what I want to do is I want to fill it with a shape. Well, actually I can't fill it with a shape if I want to use it as a pattern, but it still will be ostensibly a shape because it was created using the shape tools, and there's a whole range of different shape tools. Maybe a diamond one. Let's go for a diamond one. So just quickly create that. Of course, I want something different from that. Otherwise, of course, the colour will be the same, so you wouldn't be able to see the pattern. So I'm just going to quickly change the colour. So I've got this design. It's a vector design at this point, so make it fairly big. Doesn't have to be big, but it just makes it, obviously when you do it as a pattern, it makes it much nicer if you've got a big design to start with and then creating something very tiny and then blow that up very large. So with that, what you can do, you can now cut it. Edit and cut, obviously Control X, etc. So cut that, and now what you can do, you can go to Edit and you can paste inside. Now it's pasted inside. You can see it over here in Layers, so View and Studio and Layers. So the key panel here are Layers. And you can see it's just below now inside the ellipse. What you can then do, you think, oh, I can now do pattern layer from selection. Doesn't work. Doesn't work because it needs to be a pixel layer. Can't be a vector, which is slightly annoying. Unless Affinity comes out with a sort of smart object technology, which would be brilliant. It's unfortunately you have to rasterize it, which is slightly annoying. So I'm just going to go to a layer and rasterize. Of course, please put in the comments if you find completely different experience. Maybe there's a workaround. Please let me know in the comments. Always appreciated. Now, so I've got this design. You can see now it's a pixel layer. What you can now do, go to a layer and new pattern layer from selection. And then you can see your design. So very quick and easy, you've added this pattern design to your shape. So you can then see, you can move it around and do nicely, and also you can move the other pixel one there. So you can select the shape, so you've got there, so you can move it around, so you rotate it, and you can also still go to this pattern, and you can still modify this design as well. Now you can push it only so far. If you really make it massive, you'll see that it doesn't look so great. So you just, and you can also shear it, so you can create other designs as well, if you want. And that's it. So now I'm just going to remove that, remove the whole thing now, and I'm just going to go through, do it another shape. Donuts. Let's just go for a donut. And now what I can do, let's just go for maybe fill it with, well, ellipses. So I've got this design. I want to just select it here. Now I can keep it as a vector design here, or I can convert it into a pixel at this point as well. It doesn't matter which order you do it. Really, I don't think there's any difference. Maybe there is, but certainly doesn't visually. So you can do it now or you can do it later. Also, what you can do, of course, with the pixels, which is a vector, you can always just quickly get rid of the fill. You can maybe turn around and think, you know what? Oh, let's just go for View, Studio, and Swatches. You've got your swatches there. I'm actually going to go to that one, and I want to turn it into, so swatches is quite a handy one there. Of course, swatches at the side. I always forget the swatches at the side there. It shows my terrible eyesight, because colour and gradient and swatches. Helpful no. The key thing is I want to basically turn it to no fill at all. So what you can then do, you can go to stroke. So there's a stroke, and I'm just going to give it a width. And you can vary other things as well. I'm not going to do those. You can obviously dashes if you want. You can do all sort of other things, depending on the shape, of course. It's a closed or open path. I'm just going to go with this. So again, what you can do, edit, underscore, cut, of course, Control X, etc. And then go back to this design here. And then you can go to edit and paste inside. And you can see it pasted inside there. And you can resize it. And also what you can do, if you want, you could use maybe the node tool. Convert it into curves, so you can go to a layer and convert to curves if you want to do that. And then manipulate it. So convert to curves. You don't have to do this, this is just a, but you can then of course create something other than just a, so you can sort of distort it and maybe make other designs. And you could of course use the pen tool to maybe create your own design to be included here as well, if reasonable as well. So now with that, what you can now do is you can convert it into a pixel layer. So layer, rasterize, and now it's rasterized. And now what you can do, you can see over here it's pixels, it's below the donut. So with pixel selected, make sense, pixel selected, you can then go to a layer and you can say new pattern layer from selection. And then straight away you can create your pixel layer. And you can of course remove that one or just deselect it. Also what you can do, you can go to the pattern, you can also hold down the Alt or Option key and you can duplicate. So you can create another pattern. So it's two patterns now. And of course you can resize one, squeeze out, rotate. So you can create all numbers of combinations of designs. And unusual there. You can select again the donut or you can select any of the patterns and manipulate those. But what you can also do, of course, is you can add, and this is not probably a very good example, so I'm not going to do it here, you can add various effects and filters as well. Or distort it, if you're reasonable. So I'm just going to do that. So let's go to another one and let's go for a diamond. So diamond shape, I don't want diamond with that, I want diamond with a fill. Doesn't matter if it's got stroke, so I'm going to have that. And now I'm just going to create another shape. And let's go for the arrow tool this time. And maybe get rid of the stroke, don't want that. Swatches, yep, that's the one I want. So you've got rid, and I'm going to go for a different colour again, because otherwise you won't be able to see it. So you can see green, it's fairly. But what you can do, you can go to layers, and you can go down here to the FX. So click there, and you go for outer shadow. Weirdly, the default outer shadow is completely useless. I've never understand that. What's the point of an outer shadow if you don't actually see the outer shadow? Because it starts with 0, 0 and 0. To me, it should at least start with something, some value. And it's always a pity there's no feature, and maybe I'm mistaken, a way of storing as a default setting so you can always have something in that value. Because it's like the next one, which I'm going to use. Bevel Emboss always goes to pillow. I would love it to be, which is the one I use all the time, inner. So, and I can modify that, and yeah, I quite like that one. Or maybe soften, and you can modify, obviously, the direction. Anyway, you don't have to have this, of course. I'm just pointing out you can do these things. And of course, you can also rasterize that. So you've got that, what you can do, a layer. Now this, you do have to slightly do it differently. Layer and rasterize. And you've got there, preserve layer effects. Now I don't want the layer effect to be preserved. I want to deselect that. So deselect it, and now everything's rasterized. So it's the whole thing, the shadow, the bevel, that's all been rasterized. Now what I can do, edit and cut. Again, with that selected, the diamond shape there selected, I can then go to edit and paste inside. And you can see your design now is pasted inside. And it's a pixel layer, exactly the same as before. What you can now do, of course, is you can go to layer and you can go new pattern layer from selection. And you can see again, you've ended up with your design there. And I can move the other one, of course, the source. Now the great thing of leaving the source in there is that you, of course, can manipulate it further and do other things with it. So it's always handy to keep unless you really want to get rid of it. And then you, of course, can rotate it around and shear. Do that. So there's a whole range of different designs you can create. And of course, what you can do, it's still, you can manipulate it, maybe apply effects to this design. So now if you go to effects, so I'm just going to go here, distort and maybe twirl. goes flying off somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Ah, there it is. Now you'll see that it doesn't always create the best of responses. So you can see the design's cut off, it's slightly odd. So what you might like to do with that pattern is once you've decided that's the design you want, what you can also do, of course, you can always rasterize that pattern. So you can rasterize, and you can also duplicate like I did before. So layer menu and rasterize. So it's rasterized now. And now what you can do, you can go to filter, distort and deform, or the other one as well, but I think deform's a bit more controllable. And then you can distort the design there. You can see the end result. So you don't get that sort of weird sort of cutting in the design. And you can just manipulate that, and it's all, of course, happening within the shape of now the diamond. Of course, the diamond design there, if you remove that, you got rid of the diamond and you just saw the actual pattern, you would obviously see the full thing. But I'm just distorting it like that, and that's it. Click apply, and it's done. So you can see the design there if I move it around. So it doesn't go off for eternity, unfortunately. So you can't sort of drag it down and see like it goes off forever. It's just within a certain confines of the document, obviously. But it's still quite useful because you can, of course, resize that, rotate it, and you can, of course, duplicate it, maybe apply blending modes. Go like that. I'm just quickly doing something so you can see you can do a whole heap of different things. So difference, if you want to create some very weird, sort of unusual texture designs in that, if you want to do that. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. I'm always adding new tutorials about Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, Affinity Publisher, Photoshop, Illustrator, and many others. So please subscribe to the Graphic Extras channel. And also, if you've got any comments, anything that I did maybe wrong, or I didn't explain very well, please let me know. Always great to hear. And also dislike or like. Always appreciated as well. Thank you much.